Hello friends, welcome you all. In the previous lecture we have discussed the syllabus and taken just overview of syllabus. Today in this lecture we are going to start actual content of your syllabus. The first content of your syllabus is the evolution of banking. So I am going to discuss the evolution of banking in the world, and later on we will see the evolution of banking in India, how the banking business evolved from its crude form to the modern nature. Uh, Before that, we are going to discuss how the word bank evolved from various words and from various how its meaning changed according to the different languages. So let us discuss first how the word evolved. According to some authorities, the word bank itself is derived from the word bankus or banku, means a bench. The early bankers, the Jews in Lombardy, transacted their business on benches in the marketplace. When a banker failed, his banco was broken up by the people. Hence, the word bankrupt derived. Means when the Jews which were transacted their business at marketplaces failed to do the banking activity or failed to return the money of people, they used to broke off banco means the bench. Other than this, there are others who are of the opinion that the word bank, 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 is originally derived from the German word back, meaning a joint stock firm, which was became banco in Italian language, because the Germans were master of a great part of Italy. This is appears to be more possible because the Germans were uh, the master of many parts of Italy. But whatever the origin of word bank, the one economist, Professor Ramachandra Rao, says it would trace the history of banking in Europe from the Middle Ages. I quote the sentence of Ramachandra Rao: it would trace the history of banking in Europe from the Middle Ages. So, the origin of banking business is from the from the Europe and from the Middle Ages. Now let's discuss the early history of banking evolution in Europe. So as early as 2000 BC, means before Christ, the Babylonians had developed a banking system. There is some evidences that shows the temples of Babylonians were used as banks. For examples, such great temples we can see the Ephesus and Delphi. These were the famous temples used for banks by Babylonians. Were the most powerful of the Greek banking institutions. But the spread of irreligion soon destroyed the public sense of security in depositing money and valuables in temples. Irreligion means the faith in the religion reduced. The priest means in we called it pujari in Marathi, were no longer acting as financial agent. The priest who acted as a financial agent because he was the chief of the temple. Let's discuss the next slide. The Athens, the famous city of Greece, banking was a prosperous business. Prosperous means in the Marathi we called it bharbarat. But banking business was limited to money lending and money changing activities. The banking practices in ancient Rome, however, have a close similarity to modern banking practices in many aspects. These banks used to change money and give loans, and some of them even used bank draft and checks. You can imagine at that time they used drafts and checks, but in a different form. Some Roman banks collected taxes on behalf of the government, means they have worked for government also. So a function performed by central bank in modern times, they have performed at that time. So some banks work for government also. Merchants, money lenders, goldsmith are the ancestor of modern banks. So let's discuss who were the actual ancestor of modern banks. Look at this slide. Merchant, money lenders, goldsmiths are the ancestor. Ancestor we called it purvas in Marathi of modern banks. All of them lend money, finance to trade, accepted deposits, and arranged for transfer of funds from one place to another. So this is the uh, function of modern banks. So they have done all these things at that time. These, as we have seen, are the functions of modern banks. So these all are the functions of modern bank they have done at that time. The Jews started the banking business during the 12th century. The main function was money lending against interest. So the function, the very primary functions, first function of the crude banking form was to just lend the money, not take the deposits. Some Jews started their business in Italy and subsequently spread into England, France, and Belgium, and other European countries. The moneylenders in Florence were well known throughout Europe. At one time existed about, can you imagine, 80 private banks who accepted deposits at that time. So Florence were well known in whole the Europe, and about 80 private bankers who were doing their business of banking at that time. The earliest bank history was, let us first the earliest bank established in Venice in the year 1157. This bank was established by the magistrate of Barcelona. Sorry, this first bank in Venice established in 1157, and the second public bank was established in 1401 by the magistrate of Barcelona. After that, the Bank of Geneva established in 1407. The bank which the bank given service as a model for many European bank. The Bank of Geneva, which worked as a model for many European banks. After that, Bank of Amsterdam established in 1609. So these are the some primary earlier banks established. Now look at the evolution of banking in England. In England, Goldsmith performed the function of money changing because Goldsmith had safe vaults, and in these safe vaults they were kept their own valuables, and slowly they started accepting the valuables of other people also for the service, and they have charged some fees and commissions from these people. So we can call they are forerunner of safe vaults. Can you imagine at that time they used safe vaults? So safe vault is a general utility service of modern banks. So the Goldsmith of England at that time used safe vaults for their own valuables as well as for the other people also. They charged a small rent, not very high. The merchants kept their daily collection of cash with the goldsmith for safekeeping. For this deposit and cash and other valuables, the goldsmith used to issue notes duly signed by themselves. They were used to sign on the paper that your valuables and cash, all things, valuable things are with us, and this duly signed note on the paper transferred to the owner of these valuables. These notes were kind of acknowledgement that the said amount of cash was deposited with this goldsmith. Because of the note carried a promise of payment to the bearer of the note of the sum written in the note. It could be used as money. Means the receipt issued by goldsmith can be used as money at that time. So receipt issued by goldsmith is the starting of the currency note of modern times. So uh, you can trace the modern banknotes to the acknowledgement receipts given by Goldsmith of England. The British goldsmith who accepted deposits and issued notes to depositors slowly learned by experience that all the deposited money held was not required to be kept in ready cash. So, if they lend a part of it was a profitable. So, the notes themselves could be circulated as money. So, the ready cash was not required because they used to use a receipt, and the receipt could be circulated as money. The requirement of cash holding were further reduced, and here we find the seed of modern credit creation by banks. So the credit creation is important function of bank, and here you can see without the actual cash they have lent some money because they had not required at that time the ready cash because they have circulated the receipts of valuable deposited with them. Once this possibility was successfully tried, the goldsmith started offering interest to the customers on their deposit because they had required the lot of deposit to lend money. So they uh, they started offering interest. So the deposit attracted more and more deposits attracted. Instead of charging fees for sake of keeping of their funds, they have offered the interest on deposits. For the recording of deposits and withdrawal and transactions, the goldsmith started giving passbook. So the listen carefully the how passbook evolved. Deposit withdrawals and transactions of the goldsmith started giving passbook to their customers, which were them known as passage book. At that time it is called passage book. Those goldsmith who prospered in this business gave up their original business, stopped their business, means who were prospered with this business stopped completely their business and became specialized in banking. They have started only their business, stopped goldsmith business and started a specialized banking business. Now it will thus be clear that most of the important function of modern banks like accepting deposit, issuing banknotes, advancing loans, creating credit, maintenance current account, etc. were performed by these British goldsmiths. So you got now idea that how the banking business evolved, and we called the ancestor of modern bank. Now let us discuss the spread of organized banking. How organized banking? These were uh, some kind of unorganized banking. So let us discuss the spread of organized modern banking. Now, by this time, public bank had come into existence in some countries of Europe. The Bank of Venice established in 1515, while the Bank of Sweden was established in 1556. In England, the goldsmith performed the banking function and even gave loan to royal family also. Royal family means the king of the England, the family of king. But around the 1672, King Charles II crisis happened. Uh, the crisis arose because the King Charles II refused to repay the loan of these goldsmith and these private bankers. The King Charles taken lot of loans from these bankers and goldsmiths and refused to repay the loans. These affected public confidence and people started demanding their deposit back from the goldsmith, because the crisis was so big that people um, became panic and started demanding their deposit back from the goldsmith. So there were several other complaints against the goldsmith. People demanded that the banking business should be in the hands of company so that it can control by government regulations rather than in private hands. So there were a lot of complaints. There was necessary for the security of public money and for controlling the rate of interest. These led to the formation of the Bank of England in 1694. So Bank of England, also called the Old Lady on Threadneedle Street. It is on Threadneedle Street. So the first bank and the first central bank in the world, the Bank of England, established in 1694. So thanks to the King Charles II crisis, it gave the modern model for the central banks for the world. It was a joint stock bank. Earlier, Bank of England was the joint stock bank which was empowered to issue notes in 17th century. In the 17th century, uh, the power has given to issue notes, banknotes. It accepted public deposits and operated current account. So generally central bank do not accept the deposit from public, but at the early years the Bank of England accepted public deposits and even operated current account also. Okay, in 1833 the formation of joint stock banks was permitted even in London and outside of the London. Such banks had been allowed to conduct business since 1827. The first half of 19th century witnessed a growth of banking not only in England but also in many other parts of the world also, including India also. In 19th century, India also witnessed many banks started their business. So in the so that is this much in this today's lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to see the evolution of banking in India. So if you have any questions or queries, you can mail me on my email ID I have given in the very first slide of introduction. So you are supposed to write your name and roll number in the comment box so that I will get your attendance. So thank you. See you again in the next lecture.